I was stranded by my wife and her friends after their harmless prank. They left me in the middle of nowhere and laughed. I didn't get mad, just made one phone call. The next morning, they were all fired when I, 34 male, have always considered myself a pretty easygoing guy. I'm not one to make waves or seek revenge when things go sideways. But sometimes, life hands you a situation where you just have to stand your ground. My wife Eliza, 32F, has this tight-knit group of friends from college that she's stayed close with over the years. There's Vanessa, 33F, who works as an HR manager at a prestigious tech company. Meredith, 32F, a marketing executive. Paige, 34F, a financial advisor. And Tessa, 31F, who's in corporate sales. These women have weekly wine nights, take annual trips together, and generally consider themselves inseparable. I've always been the odd man out. They have these inside jokes from their college days, and whenever we all get together, I'm basically invisible. I've tried to connect with them, but they've made it pretty clear I'm just Eliza's husband to them. Whatever. I've got my own friends. The incident happened during what was supposed to be a couple's retreat last weekend. All the women brought their partners for a cabin getaway. We rented this place about 2 hours from the city, deep in the woods with spotty cell service at the cabin itself, though there was decent reception at the main road about a mile away. I wasn't thrilled about spending the weekend with people who barely acknowledged my existence, but Eliza was excited, so I agreed. The couples were Eliza and me, Vanessa and her husband Greg, Meredith and her boyfriend Jared, Paige and her husband Kyle, and Tessa and her husband Derek. Friday night went okay. We grilled, had some drinks, played some games. The women reminisced about college while us guys talked sports and work. Saturday afternoon, Vanessa suggested we all play this elaborate scavenger hunt she'd planned. We were split into teams. I was with Tessa's husband Derek and Meredith's boyfriend Jared. Our clue led us deeper into the woods than the others. About 45 minutes in, Derek got a text saying there was an emergency back at the cabin and we needed to head back immediately. When we got back, nobody was there. No cars, nothing. Just a note on the door. Gotcha. Hope you boys can find your way back to civilization. XOXO, the girls, and guys. They took everything. Our phones were in the cabin, but they turned them off and hidden them. Our wallets, car keys, everything. The cabin door was locked. We had nothing but the clothes we were wearing. Derek started freaking out. Jared was laughing, nervously saying, "Classic Meredith prank," but I was seething silently. The cabin was in a cellular dead zone except for one specific spot on a hill about a quarter-mile away, where you could sometimes get one bar. Luckily, Derek had kept his phone in his pocket during the scavenger hunt, the only one of us who did. We hiked to the hill and tried for almost an hour before Derek finally got enough signal to make one call. He let me use his phone, and I didn't call Eliza. I called my buddy Nathan, who works in IT security. I gave him a quick rundown of the situation and asked if he wanted to hear the latest on Eliza. Him to be ready to help when I got back to civilization. By this point, Derek's breathing was becoming labored. He mentioned he had mild asthma, but his inhaler was back in the cabin. We spent over an hour searching around the cabin for a spare key, but found nothing. With Derek's breathing getting worse and the sun starting to set, we made the decision to walk to find help. It took us nearly 3 hours to walk 7 miles to the nearest gas station. By then it was dark, I was dehydrated, my feet were blistered, and Derek's asthma had worsened significantly. Some kind stranger gave us help. A ride to the nearest town, where we found a cheap motel and crashed. The clerk at the front desk gave Derek some over-the-counter allergy medicine, which helped him breathe a little better, but he was still in rough shape. Sunday morning, I used the motel's lobby phone to call Eliza. Her response? "OMG, babe, it was just a joke. We thought you guys would figure it out sooner." "We left a spare key under the back porch swing. Didn't you check there?" "Whoa!" "And wait till you see the hidden camera footage we got of you guys freaking out. We're all at brunch now. We'll come get you guys in a few hours." I hung up without responding. That's when it clicked. They had set up cameras around the cabin to record our reactions. I asked the motel clerk if I could use the computer at the front desk to check my email. He agreed, and I saw that everyone in the group had already started posting clips from the hidden cameras on their social media accounts. They had driven back to the main road where they had cell service to upload everything last night while we were walking for help. I called Nathan again from the motel lobby phone and we formed a plan. I decided to wait until Monday to make any more moves. I needed to see what else they would post and how they would act when they picked us up. By Monday morning, things started happening. I'll post updates as this unfolds, but let's just say that recording your hilarious prank on hidden cameras, posting it all over social media, and sending the video to your work colleagues isn't the smartest move when one of your victims decides enough is enough. Update 1, Monday evening. First, thanks for all the support in the comments. Wasn't expecting this to blow up like it did. Let me fill in some details about Sunday and this morning. After I hung up on Eliza, she kept calling the motel. I didn't pick up. Derek was still in rough shape from his asthma flare-up. He was considering going to urgent care if his breathing didn't improve by morning. Jared kept saying we should just laugh it off, but I noticed even he was pissed when I showed him they'd shared videos of us looking confused and desperate on their social media. Some of Meredith's co-workers had already commented things like, LOL savage, and these guys can't take a joke. Eliza and Vanessa finally showed up around 3 p.m. They were smirking until they saw our faces and Derek's condition. Derek immediately confronted Tessa on the phone about his asthma flare-up. Jared just silently got in the car. The ride back was tense, to say the least. When we got home, Eliza tried to play it off. Babe, it was just a harmless prank. We didn't think you'd have to walk that far. The spare key was under the swing the whole time. I just looked at her and said, do you realize Derek could have had a serious medical emergency out there? Do you think stranding someone with no money, no phone, no medication, and no transportation is funny? She got defensive. God, you're being so dramatic. The guys thought it was funny too. Which guys, I asked. Well, Kyle thought it was hilarious. He was the one who suggested hiding the phones and setting up the cameras. Kyle is Paige's husband, an investment banker who's always been the alpha male of the group. So, you're saying the prank was Kyle's idea? I asked, keeping my voice neutral. Well, yeah, but we all thought it was funny. Greg helped set up all the cameras. Vanessa posted the video to her work chat, and even her boss said it was epic. That's when I knew I had more than enough. I went silent, told her I needed space, and slept in the guest room. She kept texting me memes about learning to take a joke that her friends were sending her. This morning, I put my plan into motion. On Sunday night, I had already emailed Nathan screenshots of their social media posts and the videos they had shared. He helped me document everything and organize it clearly. Early Monday, I sent emails to the HR department at Vanessa's company, the regional manager at the financial firm where Paige works, the director of marketing at Meredith's company, the VP of sales at the company where Tessa works. When we got back to civilization Sunday night, I spent hours documenting everything. I didn't need any special hacking or tech skills. The videos were right there on their public Instagram stories and Facebook posts. They had literally tagged their workplaces and colleagues in the posts, showing us stranded. They posted their group chat planning it all, with Vanessa clearly writing, "Let's make sure Derek doesn't have his inhaler. It'll be funnier when he panics." And a video showed Tessa and Paige laughing as they said, "We should do this to the new hires as a team-building exercise." I didn't share everything right away. Just enough. The hidden camera videos they themselves had posted showing us desperately searching for help. The screenshots of their group chat planning to separate Derek from his medication. The social media posts, where they bragged about leaving us stranded as character building. The TikTok, where they laughed about it being miserable out there with the mosquitoes and no water. I'm not vindictive enough to want them fired. I just wanted their employers to see who they really are. But actions have consequences, and professionalism matters. This morning, Vanessa texted our group chat. "What TF is happening?" "HR just called me in for an emergency meeting." Then Paige. "My boss wants to see me now about conduct unbecoming of a financial advisor. Is that confusing? What is going on?" Meredith. "My director just emailed me about a disturbing video being circulated. I'm freaking out." Tessa. "My client just cancelled our contract and specifically cited my lack of judgment and compassion as the reason.
I need that commission!
Eliza came storming into the house at lunch, fuming.
What did you do?
They're saying you sent their work emails with the videos we took.
Those were private.
I just shrugged. I simply forwarded their own public social media posts to their companies with a brief explanation of the context. Your friends already tagged their workplaces in these videos. I just made sure their bosses actually saw what was being associated with their companies. She's been blowing up my phone all afternoon. Apparently, Vanessa has been suspended pending investigation. Paige has been removed from her client accounts. Meredith's team is being reassigned. And Tessa lost her biggest client. Kyle called me a vindictive asshole and said it was just a joke, bro. Derek, interestingly, sent me a private text. I should have stood up for myself. Thanks for doing what I couldn't. I'll update again when I know more. Right now, I'm staying at my brother's place until Eliza stops throwing my clothes into the yard. Update 2, Wednesday. It's been a wild 48 hours. I'll try to keep this update focused on the important developments. First, to answer the most common question. Yes, Eliza and I are still married, technically, but things aren't looking good. She spent all of Monday night and Tuesday alternating between calling me a monster who ruined her friends' lives over a stupid argument, ended with her being hospitalized. Joke, and begging me to fix this by calling everyone and saying it was all a misunderstanding. I refused. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a deliberate act that they recorded, shared, and bragged about. The professional fallout has been significant. Vanessa was fired yesterday. Turns out she had already been on thin ice for creating a hostile work environment, and this was the final straw. She's been blowing up my phone, calling me every name in the book. Paige has been demoted and put on probation. Her clients have been reassigned, which means her bonus this year will be basically zero. Meredith's company is more image-conscious than the others. They've required her to take compassion training, and she's been removed from client-facing roles for at least 6 months. Tessa lost 3 more clients after the first one talked. Commission-based sales are her whole income, so she's panicking about making her mortgage payment. Kyle is still on his high horse, sending me threatening texts about how I've made an enemy for life. Whatever, dude. You're not exactly the criminal mastermind here. The most surprising development came from Derek. He called me yesterday and asked if we could meet for coffee. He told me that after his asthma attack and seeing how dismissive everyone was about it, he's finally decided to divorce Tessa. Apparently, this prank was just the latest in a pattern of her humiliating him for entertainment. He thanked me for inadvertently giving him the wake-up call he needed. Jared broke up with Meredith yesterday via text. She showed up at our house, where I was picking up more clothes, screaming that I had poisoned him against her. As for Eliza, she finally stopped defending her friends last night. She called me crying, saying that Vanessa had just told her that I was always the problem, and that Eliza should have found someone who could take a joke. Apparently, now that Vanessa is unemployed, even Eliza is too much of a liability for her. Eliza asked if we could talk tonight. I agreed, but I'm not optimistic. She participated in stranding me in the woods, laughed about it, shared videos of it, and then defended everyone's actions until they turned on her. That's not exactly the foundation of a healthy marriage. I'm not celebrating anyone losing their jobs or relationships. That wasn't my goal. I just wanted them to experience consequences for once in their lives. These are adults in their 30s who thought abandoning people in the woods without medication or transportation was hilarious. That's not a harmless prank. It's dangerous and cruel. I'll update after I talk with Eliza tonight. Final update. 1 week later. It's been a week since everything went down, and I think this will be my final update on the situation. Eliza and I met for dinner last Wednesday, as planned. She was subdued, not the indignant person who had been blowing up my phone for days. She started by saying her friends had shown their true colors by turning on her the minute things got tough. Apparently, in their group chat, which I was never part of, they'd started blaming her for marrying such a vindictive asshole and suggesting she must have known what I was really like. I asked her one simple question. If Derek had died from his asthma attack out there, would you still think it was a harmless prank? She couldn't answer. Finally, she admitted that she'd gotten caught up in the group mentality. "When I'm with them, I become someone I don't recognize sometimes," she said.
I didn't think about the consequences. I just wanted to be part of the joke.
I told her I needed time to think about whether our marriage could recover from this. She nodded and said she understood. We agreed to a trial separation of 1 month. As for the others, Vanessa has been frantically job hunting, but 3 companies have already turned her down after checking her references. Calm as a bitch. Paige's husband Kyle finally got a taste of his own medicine. His firm did an internal investigation after a client complained about his frat boy antics and found some problematic emails. He's been put on leave. Meredith is trying to rebrand herself on LinkedIn as an empathy expert, which is rich considering she was laughing about Derek's panic attack just days ago. Tessa and Derek are officially divorcing. He's staying with his brother and says he feels like he can breathe for the first time in years. No pun intended. Jared reached out and actually apologized to me. We got a beer yesterday and he admitted he'd always felt uncomfortable with the group's dynamic but never had the guts to say anything. I've been reflecting on my role in all this. Was I too harsh? Maybe. Could I have found a less nuclear option? Possibly. But after years of being treated like I was invisible, after being abandoned in the woods, after watching Derek struggle to breathe, while they all laughed, something in me just broke. The thing that bothers me most is that none of them, not even Eliza, initially showed any real remorse. They were only sorry when they faced consequences, not because they recognized their behavior was wrong. I'm staying with my brother for now. Eliza texts daily, sometimes with updates on her therapy, which she started last Friday, sometimes just to say she misses me. I'm not ready to go back yet. Trust is like a mirror. Once it's broken, you can glue it back together, but you'll always see the cracks. I don't know if Eliza and I will work things out. Part of me hopes we can, but another part wonders if I'll ever be able to look at her without remembering how she laughed while I was lost in the woods. If there's a lesson here, I guess it's that pranks at someone else's expense aren't pranks at all. They're just cruelty disguised as humor. And sometimes the people who dish it out can't take it when the tables turn. Thanks for reading and for all the support. I hope I never have to post an update like this again.